What's up, fam? We'd like to welcome everybody back to another episode of Me and My Backyard Presents. This week, what I got for you guys, man, I've been working on this for a minute to get it just the way I want to so I can give it to you. And I finally got it right. So today I'm going to be bringing you guys the honey butter chicken biscuit, M&B style. Let's get it. All right, you guys, we're back. Like I said earlier, we're going to be doing the honey butter chicken biscuit. Now today, the recipe is going to be focusing on the biscuit recipe because I've had a lot of people ask, how do we do the biscuits? And the main focus is going to be on the honey butter recipe. Now the honey butter recipe is quick and small, so it was kind of a little too small to do just one single video by itself. So I'm kind of putting the biscuit recipe and the honey butter recipe together. Now we're going to be using frozen chicken tenders, which are awesome, by the way. But we'll have a whole different video on how we do our tenders, okay? So, with no further ado, let's get to the ingredients. First, we have 2 cups of self-rising flour. Next, we have 3 tablespoons of sugar. We have 1.5 tablespoons of baking powder. Yes, I still use the baking powder, even though I have self-rising flour. It only helps make it lighter and fluffier, believe me. Next, we have we have a 1/2 cup of lard and a 1/2 cup of butter. Now, the main thing about these two is you should need to make sure they are cold as possible. Make sure they are cold. They have to stay cold. I keep them refrigerated right before, up until I put them into the bowl. Okay, the next thing we have 1 cup of buttermilk, and you can check out our other video, how to make your homemade buttermilk. We're gonna use a pinch of salt, and that's it. Let's go ahead and put this thing together. Okay, so now the first thing we want to do, we want to get our dry ingredients together. All right, as you can see, we got a good old-fashioned sifter here, like what Big Mama used to use. Okay, we're going to incorporate our dry ingredients with each other. Go ahead and put your flour. I'm adding my baking powder, my sugar, and my last cup of flour. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and incorporate those and sift them. The reason for sifting is just kind of basic thing about it, like you're airing out the flour. You get air into it. You get separation. You get everything integrated together, your dry ingredients. And it's very important to sift. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, we're going to take our butter and our lard and we're going to cut it up. I already have it cut up some, as you can see. We're going to go ahead and add this into it. And the main thing, the most important thing, is you want to do this as quick as possible because the heat. Okay, I broke that. We're going to keep on pushing. All right. Okay, so the main thing is you want to do it quick as possible because the heat from your hands will melt your oil and your butter, and you do not want that to happen. You want it to stay as cold and as hard as possible until the baking process. So now what you're going to do, we're going to go in here and we're going to integrate the oil and the butter into your flour, and you want to just squeeze it in and work it into your flour. Okay, you want to try to make it get into the size of about a English pea. Okay, now we have our shortening and our butter integrated. Okay, so you want to make a well into your flour, and then you want to add your buttermilk. You're going to add a little bit at a time, and you're going to start incorporating your flour. Okay, you're pulling it off the sides, pulling it down off into your well. All right, get some of it incorporated. Add some more. Okay. Okay, so this is about the consistency that I want before I put it down and start kneading it. It's still kind of wet. It's kind of sticky. It's kind of tacky. All right. It's not too dry. It's not too wet. Okay, so now, like I said, this is about the consistency that I want. It's kind of tacky. It's not too wet, not too dry. We're going to go get ready to start kneading. Make sure you got your nice clean surface. Sprinkle down some flour. All right, a little flour on your hands so your dough's not sticking. And I know some of y'all might be like, "Oh, it's too wet." Trust me, it's not too wet. This is how you want it. Trust me. All right, put your little flour on the outside and just start working the flour that you got on your counter into it, which is drying it up some. All right. Now, back to another one of the most important parts of your biscuit process is the kneading. You do not want to over knead it. You over knead it, you will have tough biscuits. Now, as I'm rolling this right here, I'm not just mashing the heck out of it, dude. I'm barely lifting it. All thing I'm doing is just incorporating some more of the flour into it, just to get it a little bit drier. Now, like I said, if you overwork it, then you're gonna come out with tough, dry biscuits. If you don't work it enough, you're gonna come out with biscuits that will not stay together. They will fall apart. All right. I need one of those little slidey things. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Yeah. The scraper joint. Yeah, I need one of the scraper joints. All right. Gonna work that. A little bit in up under here. Oh yeah, we're getting to where we want it. Okay. Now, once you get it to where it's not sticking anymore, it's nice and dry, but it's still light. Okay, like I said, we're not making rolls, so you don't be kneading it too much or too hard. When they say over kneading it, it's not necessarily the time, it's the pressure and the amount of pressure that you're putting on your dough. All right, it's about where I want it. This is exactly where I want it. Okay, like I said before, now this is about the consistency that I want it at right now, where we are. It's still soft, but it's not wet on the outside anymore. This is about where I want it at. Okay, now we're going to actually start rolling it out. Get your rolling pin. Put some flour on it. All right, we'll start rolling. Now, as you roll, if you see that it's still wet and something about it, you just sprinkle a little flour on it. All right, you're gonna roll. You're gonna fold it. Still adding a little flour as you go. I'm talking about just barely. You're just keeping it dry. Flip it, roll it some more. Okay. Kind of fold it as you're rolling it. All right, and this is why I said the practice is gonna come in at. The more you do it, you're gonna get a feel for how your dough is, and that's really what you're looking for. It's a feeling. I mean, you can't write it down for nobody to read. You just have to get in there. People have to get in there and practice so they can get the feel of that dough when it's wet with the right texture. When it's just right, you will know it. Trust me. So now we're just folding and kneading. All right, so now I'm at my final stage. I'm satisfied with the texture of my dough. What you want to do, you want to roll it out to where it's about an inch thick. That's about how I usually do mine. Biscuit cutter. My handy dandy. All right, when you're cutting your biscuits, you want to make sure you just press down. Do not twist. when you twist, you're kind of sealing that dough together, and it makes it harder for them to rise. So you just want to press down all the way through. These are pretty good sized biscuits here. I don't have a biscuit cutter. I've always used glasses. They've always worked. I've had no issue. I'm from the country. I don't have a cutter. All right, now we're gonna get our baking pan. Lightly spread. And we'll start putting our biscuits in. Now, as you're placing the biscuits in, important thing too, you want to make sure they're touching the edge of your pan and also touching each other. With the biscuits touching each other, that also helps in the rising process. You don't want them not touching. It's important that they do touch. Okay, once you've gotten all those out that you cut, just take the rest, re-roll it again, and repeat the process. Cut again. And you will keep doing that till you have no more dough left. Okay, now once we got them all cut out, panned up, we're gonna put them in the oven at 425 degrees for 20 minutes. See y'all back in 20. Okay, so now some people have issues about overcooking their biscuits. Right now we're sitting on 18 minutes, and the best way for you to check your biscuits is you want to take one and you want to look at the bottom. See, now this bottom is brown. Okay, this biscuit is done. So now what you want to do now, you want to pop it back in on broil for the last minute and a half to brown your top. Once that bottom is good and brown, that biscuit is done. You don't want to overcook it. All right, let's pull them out and see what we got. Oh man, that's beautiful. Okay, so now also when you're doing your biscuits, and once you get them out, you want to take them, kind of lift them up to interrupt that cooking process off of that bottom. And my big mama used to do this all the time. I never could understand why she was doing it, but it interrupts that cooking process. Okay, so look, man, finished product, dude. You got some nice, fluffy, soft. Look at that. You can't beat that with a bat. All right, now we're gonna put those up, and we're gonna continue. We're gonna keep moving on. Okay, now like I said, we already know the main ingredient that everybody uses is honey and butter. And now we're going to use equal parts of each. We got 1 cup of honey, we got 1 cup of butter. Like I said, the missing ingredient that's going to set this thing off is confection sugar. I'm going to use 1 cup of confection sugar as well. Now we're going to take all 3 ingredients. First, we're going to take our butter. Go ahead and put it in your pot. Now we're going to mix in our honey. And we're gonna let that all come together. And then we're gonna add our sugar. All right, now once you get this good incorporated, you wanna go ahead and start putting in your powdered sugar. As you can see, I have a whisk as well, and that's to help keep out clumps. So you're gonna continue to whisk this until it's nice and smooth. Okay, so now once you have this nice and everything is whisked and smooth, you want to keep continue to let that simmer for about another 10-15 minutes. And as you can see, you got everything melted down, everything is integrated, and this is about the consistency that it's going to be in the beginning. But I had made some earlier, and I'm gonna let you see what it looks like after it sets. and that's what you want to use. I'm gonna let it set for about an hour and a half. I mean, you can use it like this right now. It's awesome. It's still great. But I'm gonna let you see what it looks like after it sets when we get ready to plate everything up. All right, you guys. Now, man, we have come to the end. We've got our biscuits ready. We got our honey butter ready and set at the right texture that we wanted. So we're gonna go ahead and plate everything up. Check it out. Okay, man, so everything came together like we wanted it, and trust me, I know it's a long journey to get here, but the recipe that I'm giving you guys is a for sure winner. It is a banger, believe me. Let's give it a taste. That's delicious. Trust me. All right, you guys, man, that is it for today, dude. I'm tired. I'm done. But it was well worth it. Trust me, that biscuit recipe is it for sure. Just keep practicing and try till you get it correctly. And that honey butter recipe is a bomb. You use it on toast, biscuits, anything, everything. All right. So I hope y'all enjoyed it, man. Hope y'all learned a little something. And like we always say, let's make the world smile one plate at a time. One.